Sherlock Hound and the Case of the Howling Armor by Karen Wallace, illustrated by Emma Damon. So it looks like it's going to be fun. Make friends with the most famous dog detectives in town and be sure to read the case of the disappearing necklace as well. The Case of the Howling Armor, and the dedication says to Rebecca, who always finds things out. Chapter 1. Sherlock Hound, famous dog detective, put down his violin and sighed deeply. Beside him, his loyal friend, Dr. What's Up Wombat, blew loudly on his recorder. It sounded like a chicken stuck in a pasta machine. Sherlock Hound took a deep breath and tried not to show his teeth. It was enough to drive a dog detective barking mad. How was that? Asked Dr. What's Up Wombat hopefully. Once more, muttered Sherlock Hound. The violin sang like a nightingale on a moonlit night. Zing, zang, zing. This time the recorder sounded more like a pig than a chicken. Squawk, squeak, squawk. Sherlock Hound was about to suggest a game of cards instead when something extraordinary happened. A plaid pigeon with a message tied to its foot flew in through a window. It opened its beak and squawked loudly. Dr. What's Up Wombat unfastened the message and looked at it. Help! It's an emergency. Come now. Lady Squawkmighty. Sherlock Hound put on his special traveling cloak and a pair of warm brown pants. We'll go to Lady Squawkmighty right away. How did you know it was from Lady Squawkmighty? Gasped Dr. What's Up Wombat. I have a pretty good idea how he knew. Easy as pie, replied Sherlock Hound. Only Lady Squawkmighty keeps plaid pigeons. 10 minutes later, Sherlock Hound and Dr. What's Up Wombat were sitting on a train heading north to Scotland. Chapter 2. Squawkmighty Castle looked like a set of bagpipes made out of stone. Lady Squawkmighty stood in the door. It's a disaster, she squawked as she led them into the great hall. My castle is haunted. Every time I play the bagpipes, I hear blood-curdling laughter. Lady Squawkmighty sniffed. The Squawkmighty clan hate being laughed at, she cried. Now they'll never come to the big bagpipe bop. Sherlock Hound looked serious. Every year, the Squawkmighty clan came to the castle to play their bagpipes at the bagpipe bop. And every year, they put lots of money into Lady Squawkmighty's piggy bank. Without that money, Lady Squawkmighty would be forced to sell the castle. Why do the Squawkmighty clan hate being laughed at? Whispered Dr. What's Up Wombat to Sherlock Hound. Because they are really terrible at playing the bagpipes, replied the dog detective from behind his paw. Lady Squawkmighty wiped her nose on her silk plaid t-shirt. You have to help me, she howled. When did you first notice the blood-curdling laughter? Asked Sherlock Hound. Lady Squawkmighty pointed out of the window. Just after that black and yellow submarine appeared in the lake next to the castle, she replied. There's only one person who would have a furry black and yellow submarine, muttered Sherlock Hound. He picked up a set of bagpipes and handed them to Lady Squawkmighty. Play something now. Lady Squawkmighty blew as hard as she could. She sounded absolutely terrible. Immediately a howl of blood-curdling laughter filled the air. Ha, ha, ha. Sherlock Hound felt his stomach turn to ice. Just as they thought, he cried, This is Professor Hyena, master of disguise and the most evil criminal in the world. What does he want? Squawked Lady Squawkmighty. The horrible hyena is trying to force you to sell your castle, said Sherlock Hound. Lady Squawkmighty went purple with rage. How can he? Easy as pie, replied Sherlock Hound. If the blood-curdling laughter stops the Squawkmighty clan from coming to the bagpipe bop, what will happen to your piggy bank? Lady Squawkmighty's purple face went white. It will go empty, she squawked. I'll go bankrupt. And she fainted with a thud. What now? Cried Dr. What's Up Wombat. Sherlock Hound looked thoughtful. Play the bagpipes, he said in a serious voice. Chapter 3. Ha, 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 ha. As soon as Dr. What's Up Wombat blew into the bagpipes, terrible laughter filled the room. Sherlock Hound spun around. The laughter was coming from a huge coat of armor in the corner of the great hall. He rushed over and pulled back the metal head. A black and yellow tape machine was hidden inside. No wonder poor Lady Squawkmighty thought the castle was haunted, muttered Sherlock Hound. At the sound of bagpipes, the machine switches itself on and blood-curdling laughter fills the air. Dr. What's-Up-Wombat twirled his whiskers. Somehow we must trick Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena into thinking his devilish plan has worked, he muttered. Sherlock Hound didn't reply. He was looking at a painting of the Squawkmighty clan. Sherlock Hound thought hard. How could Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena know how to ruin the bagpipe bop? Someone must have squawked and told him how much the Squawkmighty clan hated to be laughed at. Sherlock Hound moved his extra powerful magnifying glass over the painting. Sure enough, one person wasn't holding a set of bagpipes. His name was Doughhead Squawkmighty. Could he be the squawker? I have a plan, cried Sherlock Hound. Fetch me a paintbrush and a wooden sign, and summon the whole Squawkmighty clan right away. Chapter 4. Inside his sneaky submarine, Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena poured out a bottle of extra fizzy cider. Opposite him, Doughhead Squawkmighty stuffed his face with peanuts. More cider, dear Doughhead? Asked Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena. I know how much you Squawkmighty love it. Doughhead Squawkmighty held out his glass. I've never talked so much in my life. He giggled. It's almost as if I can't help myself. Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena's eyes glittered in a very strange way. I love listening to family secrets, he said. They're so useful, don't you think? He grinned and sipped his drink. From the moment this idiot, Doughhead, had told him how much the Squawkmighty clan hated being laughed at, everything had gone according to plan. Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena could barely stop himself from howling with delight. Soon Lady Squawkmighty would go bankrupt, and the castle would be his forever. He picked up his telescope and peered through the submarine's window. What he saw turned his mouth into a huge, sharp-toothed smile. An enormous sign was stuck on the lawn in front of Squawkmighty Castle. It said, "For sale." Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena picked up a sack of gold from under the table. Come, my dear Doughhead, cried Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena. It's time for me to meet your auntie. Chapter 5. Inside the great hall, Lady Squawkmighty was feeling nervous. So were the rest of the Squawkmighty clan. What if something goes wrong? Squawked Lady Squawkmighty. Nothing will go wrong, said Sherlock Hound. When the professor sees the for sale sign, he won't be able to resist. Suddenly, Dr. What's-Up-Wombat rushed into the room. Places, everyone, he shouted. Our plan has worked. A moment later, the entire Squawkmighty clan disappeared. Then Sherlock Hound ducked behind the huge coat of armor, and Dr. What's-Up-Wombat crouched at the top of the stairs. Only Lady Squawkmighty stood alone in the room. There was a knock on the door. Come in, squawked Lady Squawkmighty. Doughhead Squawkmighty skipped into the room, followed by Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena. Doughhead couldn't wait to introduce his auntie to Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena, the new friend who had promised to put lots of money in his auntie's piggy bank. Now, no one would tease him because he couldn't play the bagpipes. Auntie, he squawked, this is Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena. He wants to give you lots of gold. Lady Squawkmighty stared at the professor's pointed, furry face. She had never seen anything so horrible in her life. Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena smiled and held up his sack of gold. I'm so glad you've decided to sell, he murmured. Doughhead Squawkmighty's mouth dropped open. Sell, he squawked. That's not what you... Ow! He yelled with pain because Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena stomped on his foot. Lady Squawkmighty cleared her throat. I'm so glad you've decided to buy, she squawked. But as she put out her hand to take the gold, a look on her face suddenly made Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena suspicious. It was almost as if she was expecting him. Professor Ha-Ha-Hyena felt his nose twitch, once to the left, 3 times to the right. There was only one smell that would make his nose do that. Sherlock Hound. It was a trap. "The deal's off," snarled Professor Hyena, and he ran for the door. "Not so fast, Professor." Sherlock Hound jumped out from behind the huge coat of armor and raised his paw. It was the signal everyone was waiting for. Chapter 6. Suddenly, a squawk mighty jumped out from behind every curtain, chair, and cupboard in the great hall and blew their bagpipes. The noise was terrible. For a split second, Professor Hyena couldn't think straight. In that same second, Dr. What's Up Wombat dropped a huge, heavy net from the top of the stairs. Snap, snap. Professor Hyena's razor-sharp teeth bit through the net before it had time to touch the ground. Then he laughed a blood-curdling laugh and jumped out of the window. "Catch that criminal," barked Sherlock Hound. But everyone in the Squawkmighty clan was holding a bagpipe, so they couldn't run. Except Doughhead Squawkmighty, and he was madder than a bumblebee stuck in a bottle. He ran after Professor Hyena, grabbed him by the tail, and pulled him to the ground. As the horrible hyena let out a howl of pain, a huge bang came from the lake. Dr. What's Up Wombat had blown up the professor's sneaky submarine. Now there was only one way to escape. Professor Hyena dropped his sack of gold and raced toward the forest. As he disappeared into the trees, a tremendous screech filled the air. It was the sound of the Squawkmighty clan cheering. Oh, just in case you couldn't see the submarine. Back at 22 Barker Street, Sherlock Hound played a few notes on his violin. Beside him, Dr. What's Up Wombat blew loudly on his recorder. It sounded absolutely awful. Sherlock Hound was about to suggest a game of chutes and ladders when there was a knock on the door. "Special delivery," cried a young man. He held out a package with a note taped on the side. It says, "To Sherlock Hound." Sherlock Hound read the note. It said, "Thanks for your help. The bagpipe bop was great fun." The squawkings. Dr. What's Up Wombat stared at the package. It was big and lumpy and looked just like a set of bagpipes. A hopeful gleam came into his eyes. "My dear What's Up," said Sherlock Hound. He shook his head and smiled. "Don't even think about it." And that's the end of Sherlock Hound and the Case of the Howling Armor.